dun, dun. I'm so fucking scared. Oh shit. We need chat right here. Hello people. Hello. I am shitting my pants that this cursed stream will not work. I am shitting my pants so much. So much. I am so scared. We have the 5th. Is this the 4th or 5th time that we try it? Is it the 4th or 5th time that we try to have it? 3rd? Only 3rd? It's happening! It's happening! Why is it so bright? Oh, I'm gonna close the window. That's better, I think. Hello! Hi, Alice! Hello! Angelo, hi, hello, people. Wait, I have to send the link. Aria! It's happening, everybody! It's happening! Ari, thank you so much. Thank you for the 16 months. Ari, thank you so much for the 16 months. I really appreciate you. I really do. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the help. I have to send...
It's happening, everybody stay calm.
Yeah. I'm sending the link to everyone. Limonify, I'm so sorry if I did... Did you texted me? No, I did not. Okay. I was super scared. I sent you the link. Whenever you want to join, I saw you in chat. Whenever you want to join the link. Ear Potato, let me say. I have a list of the people because otherwise I'm sure that I will be forgetting something. Okay. One. Okay. He's done. Who else am I missing? Okay, I have to sign out. While I invite them, I'm gonna tell you who is gonna join. Today we have joining us Limonify, the beautiful and sweet Limonify, also a study streamer and also a very beautiful soul. Then we have Ear Potato, not a beautiful soul. Fun but not a beautiful soul. Poto, hi Poto. We have Maxwell. Where is Maxwell? Let me send him the link. Join here whenever. Men in the Wood! Men in the Hood, thank you so much. Thank you for the prime chat. Give them... You know what to do? Give them snips. Come here. Beautiful Men in the Wood. Thank you for being here. Thank you for that. Whenever you want, just join. It's muted. You're gonna be in. You can chat with the other people. You're not gonna be on stream, so you're okay. You can just figure out if the microphone works and all of that. You can join already. We have them. I invited. We have. I would say we have Maxwell. He's German, not his fault, but that's what it is. Like that's what we have to do. Deal with. Then we have Ashkelon. You know him already from the pub of the drunk pub at the end of the streams. You know. Well, oh, he's in chat. Hi, Maxwell. We have Ashkelon, the Italian guy that we saw way too much. Then am I receiving? No. Okay. We have Angelos. Directly from Greece, providing us tzatziki and kalakikokis. The zucchini thing that Arya made us join here whenever. Invited. We have the beautiful and super funny Bob Lafro. He's actually the real contestant, the one that we're all scared of. Because I haven't done any like community game without Bob Lafro winning or like very close for stealing the win, so I'm curious about that. There we go. Then we have a Bobo. We have another Bobo. this is actually fun. Like the fact that there is two, Bob, and both of them are like from France. Like they live in France. Join here whenever. Hi, Dale. Hi. Hello. Did I send it to Lizzie? I did not send it to. I forgot about sending it to Lizzie. Did I? No. Let me send it to her. Okay. We are ready for. Oh, you're here. Hi, Lizzie. Then we have Lizzie, the sweet old potato. So today, just a real quick summary for all of you for today. We have 2 potatoes, 2 French Bob. That's it. These are the only funny things that we have. These are the only funny things that I could think of with the names. I'm sorry. That's what I was able to do. Next time I'll bring up more people with more dumb names, I guess. But these people, let me also do the Instagram thing. These people are all competing. So anticlimactic, I know, sorry. All of these people are all competing for a huge prize. The prize is, I swear, it cannot be bought for how good and beautiful it is. You cannot, like, it's very difficult that you can actually get it. It's so valuable that you cannot find it in any shop. And that is, the prize of today's competition is the glory. The glory. The glory of winning a very... the glory of winning a game that it's been like cursed for so long. A game very, very cursed. Extremely cursed. Let me... I think that there's more people. Oh, I will add them to the scene so they can all see each other. There we go. Now they can see each other. You want money? What do you mean we want money? Yes. Well, I mean, after this, maybe we're gonna have like real gifts for the next Dumbos games. But this time I was way too scared of like doing with gifts, because imagine if I scammed it again. Let's go for the first one now, like a little bit chill, right? Let me do the Instagram thing. Okay. Live now, and we're gone. We can make it if we try, just the 2 of us. Just the 2 of us. Just the 2 of us. Okay, should be gone. Done. I did all that I had to do for those things. And now, do you wanna see a little bit of the people that are competing? Do you wanna see a little bit of them? Let me see. Let me move this here, this here, this. I'm gonna put this one here, hoping I'm not sharing anything that it should not be shared. Right now they're in their own specific. They're like in a little room. They're all having like their own conversation. I think that I saw Air or Ren. I understood that he doesn't like me calling him Air or nor Potato, but I'll call him by his name. I understood that he is one of the most angry one about this game. He's gonna be the one fighting for real for this game. Chat, you will have. I will explain this also when they're also gonna be there, but you will also have the opportunity to vote. Not only to bet on them, so you can say who's gonna be the dumbest one in some ways, but also you're gonna be able to like play with in chat. Like you will have an overlay, like should appear here. You will have an overlay. You will be able to vote and answer to the same questions. It will be a little bit easier for you because you will have like the answers, like 4 answers, and you have to choose, and they don't. But we will see how they will deal with that. I am the dumbest. Shut up. I wanted to do something. I opened chat. I opened that one. I opened this. Nothing. Oh, maybe, well, I can keep the slides. No. Later, I'll put the slides right over here. What the fuck is the slides? Here. Oh, no, shit. I fucked up. I fucked up now. Wait. We will see. Maybe I fucked up with something with the slides. Anyway, let me introduce to you. Can we bet on OBS Crash also? Listen, I really hope not. I really hope not. Anyway, let me introduce to you to some of the first ones that joined us
There
for
is
today.
otherwise.
I don't.
She's giving us the finger,
We'll just
dude.
have to wait and say yes.
Yes, I'm giving you the finger. Give me the second.
Oh,
We're live.
Yeah.
Ah,
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
hello.
Hi.
Hello.
We're finally back. How are you doing? How is it going? How are you
Good,
feeling?
fantastic.
Yeah? Are you ready for today?
Yeah.
I'm actually nervous as hell.
You're nervous?
I'm so nervous.
Why are you nervous?
I don't want to get out first. Like I was memeing last time, but I did not want to get out first.
Fair. Oh, we also have them. We also have the two beautiful ladies. Hello. Oh my god.
Hello.
Oh, hi. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Oh my god, I'm so happy that it's not crashing. I'm so happy that it's not crashing so
You
much.
jinx yourself.
Working. Let's go.
Yeah, that's it's a little early to call it.
True. Do you want to go for a round of introduction so you can say at least, because I will find a way. I figure the next time I'm gonna choose a different thing to cast all of this so that I can have your names on under your picture, because this is bad. But later in the other scene is gonna be better, I promise. And the next scene is gonna be I made a fool. Anyway, Ashton, do you want to start with presenting yourself to who doesn't know you?
Why? Okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm Alberto. I'm 29. I'm from Italy.
Oh, I remember that you after the presentations, we're gonna start the bets. So you
Bet.
have to tell chat why they should vote for you. But yeah, chat will bet on who's the winner, who's gonna lose, and all of that.
Vote for me.
So you have to
Ooh,
convince
I'm
them.
in.
If you have
Yeah.
degrees, if you have anything like that, just tell them, let them know.
Okay,
Like
I
flex?
know shit. you
Yeah,
should
flex.
Flex on
vote for me.
chat.
Oh, 100% flex. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Sorry for
Okay, you
interrupting
shouldn't vote for me
No.
unless you don't want to lose all your points. I'm
Okay.
not gonna vote for me either.
That,
Alright.
this guy has a job. He's going to win.
Again. He's excited because I have a real job. I don't
Yeah.
know why, but okay. He said I'm going to win just because of that.
Oh yeah.
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 So maybe you can vote for me because I have a real job. Actually, I don't
Oh.
know.
No, but
Nice.
okay. What is your job though? It's pretty intense.
Yeah, but does it
That
mean I
shows
have,
intellect,
I have
I guess.
experience in the real world? I don't know.
What? What?
Nothing. Yeah, I work for an automotive company.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's it. As
Okay.
I said, you shouldn't vote for me.
No. But people are gonna decide for themselves.
He's sandbagging, dude. He's gonna smash it.
Yeah, I think that he's pretending to be not he's
Yeah.
pretending to be oh yeah. It's
He's a
related, and
sleeper
it's-
agent.
Yeah.
He's just gonna come in and just knock
exactly.
everyone out. Yeah.
Humble king.
No, because we have no sports, so I know shit.
All right. Next in line we have Bob Lafro,
Yes.
directly from France.
Yes, I come from France.
Yes.
The
Okay.
country of the camembert and the baguette.
Yes, exactly.
I didn't think I was gonna understand anything, but I definitely do.
How are you
I
today? Are you
mean-
feeling for today?
I'm very confident. I love trivia game. So I create some trivia game to play with friends, family. So I hope my all this person will help me to win this competition.
And I have to tell you.
And
Mhm.
and you have to vote for me because I look like Mbappe. And
Ah,
Mbappe
that's a
Right.
very
Let's
good
talk
point.
about it.
That's chat. Did you hear that?
Remember,
That's a very
Bob
good
wins every
point.
game on Discord too.
Plus, how many community games have you been winning, Bob?
I don't know. I don't have the number in head, but I won some games.
Okay.
Humble.
Humble, very humble. Yeah, he's
Um,
playing the humble card, I guess.
No.
Yeah. see that. I see that.
Yeah, I just win every week. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Kinda.
Okay,
Easy.
okay. And moving on, we have Maxwell.
Hello, hello.
First of all, can I ask you why are you calling yourself Maxwell, but instead of the E, you put the V's? That's something that I always wanted to ask you and never asked you in the end.
Because Maxwell in regular spelling is not available on most likely every platform, so I had to go the
big brain.
big brain
Makes
route.
sense. Makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Do you want to present yourself and convince Chad that they should vote for you?
Oh my god, I don't have enough time to convince Chad. But I'm from
Oh.
Germany. We are most famous for bratwurst and sauerkraut, I would say. I work in software sales. I'm a co-working streamer. I streamed on Twitch before, but I moved into YouTube and moved everything to
really?
YouTube.
Nice.
So I'm trying to get myself out there. Yeah, and as I said, I work in software sales. I'm a part-time fitness coach, and hopefully somehow I can be the big winner at the end of the day.
Yeah. All the
Yeah,
prizes.
We glory.
You got this. You got this. And do you want to say like a motivational speech to the chat so they can vote you? Like anything that
No, I don't have anything.
All right.
I don't have anything
He
good to
just
say
believes
about me.
way too
So
much.
put your money into Lemonify, and you'll be better off.
Okay.
Don't.
Okay. I see. Don't. Moving on, we have air potato / ren / air ren / potato ren. How? Yeah. Are you
There's a few
happier?
more.
Are you happier now?
There's a few more actually. You missed. There's like right now. There's like XQB. There's there's all of them, dude. It's the worst, man. But yeah,
XQB.
I have zero intellectual property. I'm probably your best bet to put all your chips on though, because I right before the stream, I did the human benchmark. I was
Oh.
popping off on all the monkey tests.
Ooh.
Yo.
Yep. I did
Monkey
the
test.
US states no borders. Oh my god, 100% did it.
Wow.
Tried the Europe no borders. I didn't complete it, but I got close.
I mean, you got to the monkey test.
Impressive.
That's
You come in prepared.
so that's.
I think I've sold myself.
Yeah, kind of sold yourself.
Thank you.
They're calling you fake XQC or XQC.2 in chat.
Point
I guess they get the
2.0? 2.0
Yeah.
I'll take. Not point
Yeah.
2. I don't know.
No, that someone said
Who got that
0.2.
fraction?
Someone said 1.2.
Nah.
Like you were the 0 and then there's 0.2.
No. You read it wrong. They typed it wrong.
No,
was a
it does say
mistype.
0.2. I see it.
No, you do not. Wait, you look at your chat? That's cheating. You can't do that.
Yeah. No. Oh, yeah. That, I'll tell you all the rules later. But that's sure. That's for later. Cool. Then we have moving on. Oh, okay. We have one more person. And hi, Bobo. Hi, Bobo.
Hello.
So we have that's the other Bobo. That's the other French Bobo that I was telling you about. Chad.
I'm the OG Bobo.
The OG Bobo. And then there's Bob Lapo. Okay. But moving on, we have should I call you? I mean, I don't know why. I get to call you Angelos, or is it Angelo? How? Oh wait. By the way, sorry.
Angela, yes.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt you, Sandro. Thank you so much for the prime. Appreciate you so much. And Rua, thank you for the 5 months. And Air, just letting you know, Rua usually takes a lot of like inspiration from SQC to do my own emotes. So
Yeah.
but you also know Rua. Like, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I have my own the span now because of Rua. So yeah.
Nice. Let's go. Beautiful. Sorry for interrupting you, Angelo.
Fantastic.
Well, how should I call you? Angelo?
Angelo, it's
Angelo,
fine.
with this accent? Okay.
Mhm.
Do you want to convince us in any way to vote for you? No?
I mean, I love everyone. Everyone loves me, so why not?
True.
Oh, he's playing the lovable card. He's playing the lovable card. I see that. It's like, puppies, they try to go for like the lovable card. Okay. Is he convincing you, Chad? Is it a little bit sus? Okay. Do you have anything else, like any documents that we can work on towards like, do you have any proof of you being like good, Is that a no?
I'll say this. We have postponed this so many times, and every time I was like, next week I'm going to start. I never practiced
damn.
once.
I-
So there you go.
I appreciate you for like sticking. I mean,
Procrastination.
you and Ashkelon and Bob and Air, yeah,
Everyone.
we're the ones that every time like. Okay, so I'm doing it next week. Can you join? Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Actually,
I
I was the one
want to do it.
telling you to
I-
do it this week. So
Oh goodness. And then moving on, the first lady of the day, a beautiful Limonify. Hi, hello,
Hi.
hello. The voice.
Hello.
I'm gonna.
A little nervous.
You're
First time.
nervous? Oh,
Yeah.
same. How are you doing? How is it going?
It's going good. I'm excited. I'm not very like competitive right now.
Oh.
I don't really, I could not say that like vote for me, but I can say that I have played a lot of Kahoots in university, so maybe that could help me today.
Definitely.
And I'm a 4-year psychology student, about to end my bachelor, hopefully. And I'm also a study streamer. So yeah, these are the things that I'm trusting on right now.
Nice. Did you hear that? Just did.
Wait,
Just did.
are bets open for us too?
What?
Because
Yeah, you can.
can I
what?
bet? Like what?
You also want to bet? All right.
Yeah,
Sure,
I'm
sure
sold.
you can. Sure you can. You can get all of your points for sure. Coming up, the beautiful Lizzie. Hi, beautiful.
No.
Oh, it's the second
I'm not
potato.
beautiful. I'm mid. I'm mid.
I'm gonna slap you in the face.
Hi, I'm Lizzie.
Okay.
Don't pick me. I am Lemon's wife. Don't touch her. I'm also like G's wife. Don't touch her. She's mine. Both of them are mine. Okay. I'm just here for a good time. Very dumb. Don't vote for me.
That's the point. Actually, we are all here for the fun, right? Until we get to be like the winner, and then when we are the winner, we were here for like winning. I agree. And then talking to the last French bubble that we have here. Hi,
Not French.
Bubble. Hi.
Hello,
Well, I mean,
Z.
but you
Hello,
are
everyone.
French a little bit to me, you know. What do you want to say for yourself?
All I'm gonna say is that if you don't vote for me, you're gonna regret it. You know?
Oh, yes. We like
It's
the
not a
competition.
promise. You know, it's a threat. You know,
No,
I'm threatening you. Just
Yes,
vote
yes,
for me.
Wait,
Yeah.
you meant to say it's like not a threat.
No.
No, it's a threat.
That's
you
how
know?
you get a legal
Say
trouble.
it's a
Yeah,
threat.
no, it's a threat.
You're not meant
If
to
you
say
don't
that.
vote for me, I'm gonna bully you in chat.
Joab, thank you so much for the gifted one. I appreciate you, Joe Xro. I appreciate you for it. Well, do mixed content? Alright, okay. Anyway. Okay, I'm gonna show you the overlay that I made for today. And while you were talking, I should have also updated your names. If you don't like them, tell me and I will fix it. But this is how you're gonna look like on stream. I don't know if what you can see.
Yo, that looks cool.
Thank you.
Wait, that's actually
Love
cool.
that.
Thank you. I've been working hard
It's
on that.
Nice.
Okay. Oh, there's something. No, I messed up. But yeah, this is how it's. I just have to fix a little bit the graphic. It's fine. But for the rest, this is how it's gonna look. If you wanna fix your camera, Bob. If you wanna fix your camera, so
I
you
like
it's
this,
not
you
just
know.
your forehead. you can do it. Like, you know, like you're very much welcome to do it. No, not an issue at all. For real, like. Oh, good job, Baba. But for today, like explaining the rules. Oh, still here I fucked it up. Oh no, I didn't. I just have to like show you up because you're not showing. I still fucked it up. Oh, but I have to. Oh, okay, I understood what I had.
everything is fucked up.
Ah,
Normal.
this is why we're not doing it on Discord.
Yeah, because
Okay, I see.
because otherwise I cannot like show you all of it. Like, you know, it's
Oh, I see.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's mad, guys.
I try. Sometimes I am. Sometimes I'm smarter than what you think. But like for example, here I fucked up. Where is this one? It has to go away. But before starting to explain you the rules, well, let me explain the rules. Then we open the bets. Maybe that's better. So, what will happen is like we have 8 players. As you can see, chat, we have 8 players.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
You know the
All-
graphics are still fucked up, right?
Yes, I don't know why Bob is taking 2 pictures. Bob, why are you taking 2 pictures? Why are you all the way there?
One camera is not enough for me. What can I say? It's my beauty. My beauty
Give
is not
her
enough.
your space. I know you wanted to include the Lizzie, but give her space.
You know,
please.
I need
Please.
more cameras to just
Give her
cover.
space. Okay, there we go. Okay. Sorry, Lizzie, for the. Sometimes
No,
he doesn't
it's
understand
okay.
his personal space. He's learning. So, before opening the bets, I'm gonna explain you how this will work. We have 8 players, which is you, and we have chat. Chat will have the possibility to choose among the 5 categories that you will have to fight on. We have as categories today. We have math and logic. We have history.
Yay.
We have pop
Yay.
culture. We have geography, and we have food beverages. Chat every single, and for each of these category, we have 3 questions.
Oh god.
Okay. For every time that we finish the 3 questions, chat will have to vote again the category on which you will have to play on. Each one of you has 3 different how is it called? Lives. They're called lives. Yes. Each one of you has 3 lives, and when you lose, you will be one. Why is Bob now small? Why is Bob now?
Hey, look. Have some respect.
You crushed his ego by
Magic.
making him only one
What's
panel.
happening to you, Bob? What's going
Why
on?
do you hate me, Julia?
I don't know.
I've
but
done
you're the
nothing.
only one. You're the only one that is giving me problems. What are you doing? Okay, then I'm gonna use you. Like randomly, I'm just gonna use you for like the test. All right.
Oh my. Consent is a two-way street, okay? I do not consent.
So we have first. Wait, I think that I fucked up on something. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
The graphics.
So we're just gonna.
Yeah.
Okay.
Graphics. Okay, I will have to. I thought they were adjusted. They're not. But well, we're gonna deal with this today. Today is gonna be a little bit scrappy. But first
As
mistake.
usual.
It's okay.
Mistake for Bubble. Second, I don't know if you could. I'm sharing with you the live screen, right?
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
see like
Yeah.
half of it.
What?
Go
Well,
on.
We
Okay.
see the display, yeah.
Good, good, good,
Yeah.
good. So we have 1 mistake for Bob, 2 mistakes for Bob, 3 mistakes for Bob, and then Bob's becomes a Dumbo after the 3 mistakes. That's what you get.
That's
I'm sorry,
unfortunate, Bob.
Bob. So that is what's gonna happen.
Nice.
That's about right.
Sounds So that is what's gonna happen. All right. But talking still more about the game. What did I wrote in the slides? I don't even remember. Oh yeah, this is how chat will be able to choose. Chat will just have to. Bob is again big. Okay. I will have to do it every single time. I don't know why. Every single time you're getting bigger.
tried
We
to-
have to like rethink the
Like,
phrasing
that's
first.
like-
Like, we go from Bob is big
Scooch on the
to
side,
Bob
please.
is small.
Scooch on the side. Anyway,
I'm being bullied right now.
yeah.
I
don't think you're being
Yeah.
bullied, bro.
I think I'm,
Yeah,
Why
That's a
do you
compliment.
want to hide Lizzie?
Oh yeah.
not made
Why?
Julia. She's using you without my consent.
Oh, okay. I see that. I see. But
Too soon,
anyway,
bro, too
chat will
soon.
be able to choose the category by just typing in chat a number between 1 and 5 with the 5 categories. That's the poll that we usually use every single time for like the choosing the music during the DJ day. That one. And everyone has 1 vote apart from like subs. Their vote counts double because they're cooler. I'm joking. I don't know. I have to give them something. Poor subs. They have generally nothing. So I have to give them something. Like this is. There we go. I got you for this. Next. Each player has 3 lives, and when you finish all of them, you become a Dumbo. If you're in chat, you can participate too. If you look, wait, let me hide myself because I'm covering it. But if you look right there, in next to the chat, on the right of the screen, on the left of the chat, there is like a little symbol that says Quiz Kit. If you click there, you should set up everything just so you can log in. So everything is gonna appear on screen. Very first time that I use this, so if it doesn't work, let me know because you're generally my caveats. You're my guinea pig.
If it doesn't
right
work,
now.
it's Bob's fault.
Yeah, it's
It
true,
is my
true.
fault,
Yes,
actually,
yes,
yeah.
Yes, yeah. I agree.
Everything
100%.
going wrong, blame it on Bob.
Yeah, it's Bob. Bob's fault. And then that's it. That's everything we have to do for the Dambos games. Hi, Ank. Hello. Do you have any questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
How much should I win money-wise, you know?
I think you missed on the part where I was telling about the what you get from this game. It's really cool, as I was saying to everyone, and
Yeah.
everyone agrees. It's a very cool price. It doesn't have a value, like you cannot buy it.
Oh my God, she's not gonna give me anything. Okay, I got it.
The
Okay,
price,
fine.
it's a glory. It's a lot of glory. Zvuvio, thank you so much
I
for
gotta
the
go.
10.
See you guys later.
Zvuvio, thank you so much for the 10. I appreciate you. Wait, the alerts are really not hearing at all. Zvuvio, thank you so much for the 10. I appreciate you. I have a question. You know what we could do to make it more fun? Who becomes Damzo? Like, when you become a Dumbo, you can also decide like to leave if you want to do something else. If you want, you can do whatever. If you want to stay, and that's stupid, I should not tell you because then you're never gonna stay. I was gonna say that if you become a Dumbo and you stay, then you have to dance the subs dances.
Oh yeah, I'm a very good
What
dancer.
are the sub dances?
The
Okay.
sub dances.
We
what's
have,
that?
we have to do what?
We have the one
We have
for
to
the
do
prize.
what?
The sub dances.
Are you asking us to leave when we lose, right?
Ah,
Nah, never mind.
Dance?
Can I
I'd
just
rather stand
wiggle?
up.
Yeah, you can wiggle. You can.
Show
you
us,
can
show
wiggle.
us the demo. Show us the demo.
The demo, okay. I think that the favorite one is the Macarena. We don't talk about Bruno Macarena.
Macarena, yes.
Macarena, we all know
Okay.
Macarena. Easy. I mean,
Do I have
yeah.
to shake? Do I have to shake?
yeah,
off
you
my-
shake the
my
butt. You
mic
shake the
before
butt
that?
after. Yes.
Wait,
Yes.
Ah, okay.
I'm gonna need
ready.
instructions on that. I forgot how to do it.
Don't do it now.
Can we change? What
So-
did I miss?
This.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yes, I misspelled your name, Limoni. I'm sorry. I misspelled your
It's
name.
okay. I like it this way too.
No. You tell. Okay, listen. Tell me if I do something wrong, please. Thank you, by the way, for pointing that out. Thank you. How did I get SQC to participate? Well, it was very difficult to ask them to join. But thank you for clearing up your agenda for us. Thank you.
Yeah, he's
No
also
problem,
streaming at the same time, you know. He's
Oh
like-
yeah. Oh
Hold on.
hi chat. Hi. Mods, can I ask you for the help to do the bets so we can start the bets with the 8 contestants? We can start
Also,
to see.
there should never be a French question, like
I-
French language questions, out the door, dude. No more.
I don't know if
Yeah,
I have.
That's instant loss for me.
How do we answer the questions?
Oh yeah, true. How you will have to answer the questions is do you have a piece of paper and a pen?
Oh,
Ah.
I
Yeah.
do not.
I come back.
Sorry, I forgot about telling you. Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of scuffed up though,
It's perfect.
but
So how it's gonna
Okay.
happen is like I'm gonna ask you the questions. We're all gonna wait, and then you're gonna be able to vote. Like to write your answer, and then you're gonna show it when I say like, oh, show your paper. We show your papers. Medieval time. Yes, listen. That's what we have
Yeah.
until we create like a cool like software. 1 minute, okay, for predictions.
Can I use an iPad?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you wanna be cool, yeah, sure.
I
As long
don't
as you
have
don't use
pen
it
and
to search
paper.
the answers.
yeah, that's
Say what?
yeah.
As long as you don't use it to get the answers.
That's
Oh, no,
that's
no.
that's a quick,
Obviously not.
switch over to Google.
It's
Okay.
it's
Okay.
just
Yeah.
freeform, so
And
I
since
can
like
write
there's
it down.
since there's such a big prize, all right, today since the prize is huge today,
The glory is massive.
Glory is so good.
It's so big.
I can understand that you might be like thinking, oh, I would like to cheat so I can get this massive glory.
Definitely.
But I will ask you to just either like close the chat or just put it on the side. Don't look at it. Like you mean like, I know that the temptation must be so hard. The temptation must be so hard, but you know.
I can't write in chat.
Yeah, you no, you cannot type in chat. You have to close the chat. You are the one that I'm the most scared of. You're the one that looks at chat. I feel like you're gonna be looking at chat.
I'm already writing.
You're already writing. There we go. Oh yeah, we have prediction in chat. Ding dong.
So
Vote in chat.
essentially,
I
People
swear
are
to
actually
God, if you
voting
don't
for
vote
me.
me,
Are you crazy?
I'm gonna scream.
Huh? What?
so like, do we just have to have this program open? Just this program?
Yeah, that would be perfect. That would be very perfect. Let me put on chat something that let me put up here, something that I didn't put up yet. Maybe I put it here. Oh, Bob is still doubled. Okay, no more.
Nobody
Yep.
nobody bet a single tomato on me.
Yeah. Don't bet on Bob. That is usually the one that is always winning. Don't bet on him. Yeah, no. Don't bet on him.
Chat is not betting on him. Don't worry.
What is this? Oh, that's never mind. I didn't understand what was that. What it was the source. Oh, that's perfect. AI chat, don't vote. Oh, hi chat. I thought AI. Let's see how the
Who's
bets
the
are
dumb
going.
one here?
Oh, a lot of points are going to Bob, to Bob Lafont, and to Limonify.
I voted for
Ooh.
Limonify.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna be honest.
Gonna vote for Bob,
Wow.
actually.
Wait, do we
It's a
also
good
vote?
investment.
Can we also
Yeah,
vote?
please go vote. You can definitely
Uh,
vote. You have like
Oh,
2
Bets are
I'm
seconds.
closed.
so lazy.
Go for it.
Done.
Yes.
Oh,
We have
bets are
the
closed.
Oh god.
Too late.
Poll right here. Okay.
Anyway,
By the way, I also chat before starting the game. While I'll open the entire thing with the what category?
Easy.
How about you give me the channel points if I win or lose?
I cannot give you channel points. I wish I could. I don't wish I could. But I cannot
I'm
give
farming
you directly.
for the thingy. I need like 20 more K and have 300,000 points
What do you use them for though?
Someone
for the shower.
dumped all their channel points on themselves.
Oh. Oh.
Someone had to have.
Oh. Did someone
I
do
would
it?
never waste my channel
I
points on
knew it.
myself. I have no faith in myself.
Really?
I have zero faith.
Really? Why?
Yeah.
Wait, Bob, you have so many backers. You're like a high stock right now. You can't just say that.
Oh.
I gotta drive the price down, you know, so no one wins from me.
Oh, true, actually. Big play.
Okay, the poll is starting. So you can choose by typing in chat a number between 1 and 5. Lizzie already wins the best background category though. Well, I would say that also
Yeah.
Limonify. Look at that light.
Yeah, Lemon has really good. Yeah.
I'm a big
The
fan
lighting
of
is
the
amazing.
background. Thank you.
No geography.
Okay, so
3 questions
I'm
by
so bad at
category.
geography.
Yeah.
we have 3
Yeah, do
questions
math,
per
math.
category. Yes.
Math.
Oh,
Yes. So wait, where is it?
so dumb. It's gonna be a struggle.
Yeah.
Got this.
Me too.
Oh, let me put this one here. Okay, perfect. Okay, you just type in chat the number that you want them to fight on, and then we're gonna be playing that one. But in the meantime, I
How
want
do you
to.
fight?
Well, you just answer. That's.
Ah, okay.
Bob, I'm sorry to disappoint you.
We throw hands.
I thought we were gonna do like some video game or something.
Is there more boxing in this?
I was ready, you know.
What, Bob?
I have 2 other questions.
Yes.
The first is how many times we have to answer the question. How many times?
How much time do you have to answer the question?
Yes.
Oh, okay. We will decide like, for example, there are some math ones that'll give you like a little bit more time, and for some others, we're gonna be like, I'm gonna give you less time. But we
Are
can
there
either.
any that are related to YouTube videos I might have seen? Like, do I have a chance at all?
It depends on what YouTube algorithm do you have working on right now. You know, like yeah.
Kurzig, it's like Kurzig's Nat or whatever. There's like cute animated things going on all the time.
I just have to tell you, there is no Polish cows in the geography. I'm sorry. No Polish cows.
Yeah, thank you.
Gotcha.
I'm glad. I see enough of that thing.
But chat, while you're voting, you can also vote in chat if you want to, like, just letting you know. But I just would like a lot of claps in chat, a lot of love for the participants that are joining up today, because you know how stressed I was for today, and they were so nice that I asked them like 2 days ago or like yesterday to some of them, and they were like, they just said yes, like, oh yeah, they just, even if last time maybe I scammed them, they still came. So I appreciate you very, very much. Thank you for the help. I really appreciate you, for real.
Happy to be here.
Oh, cute. Anyway, we are done with the predictions. Who won the prediction? Who is the most voted in the predictions? I cannot see shit. Can I see? Hang in there. View results.
But
oh, I can't see them.
We didn't have predictions. We just had the bets.
Yeah, the bets.
oh yeah.
Limonify won the bets.
I cannot see it. I cannot see it. Anyway.
Limonify won the bets for once.
Lemon, I think, won the bets, and
Yeah.
then Bob was second.
Big mistake.
I voted for you. Limonify. You better win this time.
Oh, I have a technical question. Here, are you able like to show this screen to your chat? Do you want me to send you a link so that you can see?
I could, but it's like it's low res because I'm coming from Australia.
Oh wait,
It's like low quality. Yeah.
Let me try to I can send you this if you want. If you want to use this, maybe it's gonna be a bit
She's
clearer.
in my DMs.
If you want to use that one for your chat so they can see it better. I didn't think about it. Is anyone else of you like streaming right now? No? Okay. I could have sent you the link for it. Anyway,
I see it, but you're not there.
You don't see any video there?
All of us are there, and you're not.
Oh, fair. Oh, fair.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's alright. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're chilling.
No, because I don't. Oh, this one. This one. I got you. Look at this one. Huh? This is sorry,
You just
chat.
broke my computer.
Oh, did I? Did I?
No, we're chilling.
Okay.
I think.
This is a curse stream. You cannot do this.
So
You're gonna
how
scare
are
me
we going
this
to do the?
The what?
How are we going to do the thing with the paper and the pen?
It's gonna be like I tell you like the question, you write it down, and then when I tell you show me the answer, you show the paper.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna able to see anything.
You
on
just
my paper, at
put it
least.
closer. Okay. Do you have like
Okay.
a marker so that maybe it's bigger?
I mean, sure.
Okay.
I have a highlighter, I guess.
Perfect. A highlighter? I don't think that's gonna be even more. Oh, anyway. So.
Do you see
We
anything?
start. Oh, we start heavy. We start heavy today. Okay.
Oh my God.
So the first category that Chess picked for all of you
shit.
is math.
Oh god, okay.
We're gonna start with
I love math.
You love math? We will see.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Hide. Okay. Okay. I hope you are all
Maths.
ready
Quick
for
maths.
the. I think points start quiz. I think. Okay. So the first question of today, it's a very easy one. Well, yeah, there is that thing coming up on the overlay. I don't want it to be there. Sorry. This one. Stressed. Okay.
Don't worry, guys. I'm gonna throw. I'm totally gonna throw the first 3 questions.
No.
Easy.
Alright, okay, I see the confidence. Okay, chat, you should be able to now to see if you know everything today, chat. Like, I need to know what everything is going wrong. So, chat, now you should be seeing like the instructions down below. Tell me if you see them, if you have the Quizlet thing. Quiz kit, right?
Quiz kids.
Quiz kid. Oh, I'm opening the wrong thing. Never mind. Tell me if you're all okay. Yes? Okay, perfect. Starting the game, and I also started a question for you all. Okay. This is the question. 2 plus 3 per 3. What is the result?
Wait. Oh.
One die.
Wait,
Oh, wait,
should
what?
we?
Do we show?
Wait, don't share it, don't share it. Hide it,
Wait,
hide it,
wait.
hide it, hide it.
My bro, I just got my answer.
Wait, now they're gonna steal the question. Now, look at that. Ashkan didn't know the answer, and now he's gonna steal it.
No, what the f- are you joking?
Okay.
You wanted me to show?
No,
Wait, you have to show
Wait,
working out, by the
don't
way,
show
yeah?
it, don't show it. Wait a second.
It's so obvious to wait. I mean,
There should be a time bonus.
Okay,
you know?
let's pretend that this was like the test question, alright? If you got this one
the only
wrong,
one
then
we all knew.
Okay, so chat should have also voted. I would like you to share your answer. Everyone, now you can share your answer. We have 11. We have 11. Okay. This was an easy question, right? It was more like to
Wait.
understand if you do. Wait, what do you mean? Why?
You
Because-
get half the marks for not showing working out, right?
You wait, what?
You get half the points for not showing you're working out. They didn't even put the equation in there. They
Ah,
just put two
yes.
vertical lines.
What a question.
That could be an
Specific
accident.
numbers.
I swear. Yes, Air. You get double the points, and the points. That's
Thank
exactly
you.
how it works. The game. Like I give you points, not like mistakes.
Yeah,
But
we get.
some like people were like, "Oh my god, this is such an easy question," but not for everyone. Some people would have gone for like 2 plus 3 per 3, so they would have said like 15. So I would like to have a clap for the people in here and for people in chat who got the right answer, which is 11. You see, like
I don't
3
want
people
people
in
to
chat
clap for
said 8. Why did you say 8?
What the? Julia,
Hey,
Why would
are you
it
sure you're
be?
running a study
2
stream
times
right now?
3 plus 3.
What the
2 times
hell?
3 plus 3.
I don't know, chat. Wait,
420.
misclick. All
That
right,
is plus
69.
everything.
all right. Misclicked. They're saying, okay, all right, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Perfect. Like, no errors for now. Good job. Chat has his own
That was
maths.
a test.
No, but you can see the chat. You can see the question right here, and you can see it also in the overlay. Anyway, next question for the math. The answer was 11. Next question.
we're
This
going
one
back to
might
back
So
be.
that was the question.
No. The next question is. This might be a little bit more tricky.
Gotcha.
So I need you to focus a little bit here, all right? The next question is going to be, how many degrees is the angle X?
Okay.
It's not visible.
If it's not visible for you, the one inside is 21, the other angle is 100. Hide it!
Wait,
Don't
do
show.
we-
Come on.
I didn't even get that one this time. No, man.
We have 2 angles inside there. One is 21 and one is 125. She just wants to
What?
help you all. Like she cares so much. that
I
you-
get
you're
too
not dumb.
excited.
Okay.
Okay.
Do
I
you
don't want
all
to-
have the answer?
Wins.
Yeah.
Do you all have the answer to
Wait a
this
second.
one? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Wait, hide it. Don't show it. Wait.
Oh, sorry.
Don't
Sorry,
worry.
sorry.
Okay. This was a little bit more difficult. Who is very sure about their
Was
answer
it?
here?
Me.
You're all very sure about your answers?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You can
Yes,
show
ma'am.
you can show it. You can show it. Okay, we have 34, 34,
It's me, Rosie.
34,
I think you can.
and Angelo.
I didn't know.
Angelo's world.
Angelo?
Wait a minute.
No, don't.
I think 44.
What?
Yeah.
Where is
I
it?
didn't do the math correctly.
I'm seeing a blank paper right now. Put it right. No, I'm
You
seeing
can-
blank.
you have
11.
I have all
I'm
the
seeing
questions.
11. I'm seeing
No, it's 44 here.
44.
I-
Ah.
Bad
Rookie
math.
mistake, dude.
Yep.
Here, did you write 34?
Not good
Rookie
calculations.
mistake.
Yeah, I wrote 34.
Okay, sorry, just checking, you know, like, it's just,
Master
alright.
Shield.
Yep, chat. Everyone was very correct apart from Angelo. The answer was 34. Good job. Good job.
Apple.
Angelo,
Thank you.
I'm so sorry. I will have to give you a strike. A strike, my man. I'm sorry. Are you? You're getting closer to the. You're the one that is the closest one right now to the Dumbo title.
Rub it in, Julia. God damn.
What?
You're rubbing it in.
No, I'm just you know, like just letting them know, like. Okay.
Don't let it happen again.
By the way, Anna, for the overlay, I wish I could change the overlay and put it like under me. Like I would not care to have this part hidden, but I cannot. Anyway, I'm so sorry, Angelo. But it must have been like a little bit tricky and all of that. Understandable. The last question, and it's math and logic together. All right. The last question for math.
Ah, it's even easier.
Looking at this picture,
Oh, I can see shit.
we have. You cannot see.
Yeah, I'm watching from the stream.
Yeah, is it better from the stream?
Yeah.
Maybe on this one I should have given you more time. Tell me if you need me to explain.
Wait, we started it, right? I thought I was getting a head start by starting early.
Okay.
Wait.
What?
Not showing this time.
Never mind.
All right. Do you need me
I
to-
have already the answer.
Okay. You know. Okay.
Ready.
Just double checking.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, not showing.
I can see the last number.
You cannot see the last number.
It's
Yes.
90.
90,
Oh, it's
okay.
yeah, 90.
Okay.
Are you all okay with your answers?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm ready.
You ready? You're all okay. Please show me your answer. 20, 20.
Oh my god.
20? What is that? I still cannot see you, Angelo. Where are you pointing?
It's my camera roll. Wait.
You should have picked a
I-
mark.
Okay, there it is. Yeah.
30.
Yeah.
Ah,
My calculations are just shit. I don't know.
yeah.
Or I don't,
It must be the stress. I'm sorry.
Maybe. I can't even see what so.
Yeah, I have to tell you, Angelo. Unfortunately, 30 is not the answer.
It's not looking good.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, Angelo. That 30 is not the answer. The right answer was actually 20. So, congrats to everyone who did this one right. I see someone in chat has some like mistakes, maybe because there was not like enough time, but you did great for the math. You did great for math.
We survived math.
You, apart from Angelo, everyone did great for math. I'm sorry, Angelo.
It's
But,
okay.
but you're gonna definitely do better in the next ones. I'm sure. It's gonna be easy. It's gonna be easy. So we finished with the math question. This was pretty easy, pretty fine. Like I'm talking from my side. I'm saying pretty easy to like manage. not from sorry, not from your point of view.
For the moment, it was cool.
Cool. Okay. How did you
Wait
feel?
for the game to start.
Let me put it again. Chat, you have now, again, the possibility to vote. And if you're a subscriber, you have double, your vote counts double. You have again the chance to choose what we're gonna be playing as next category. How did you feel about the math? How was it?
Really hard.
Really hard.
Felt
Yeah.
rushed.
Good start to the round.
Yeah,
the
I
game.
did feel rushed.
The pressure built. I thought I
I
was
feel like
getting a
it's
head
hard to
start.
see.
Yeah.
All the
hard to
repressed,
see the
memories when my dad used to beat me when I got the answer wrong. Just
No.
thought.
The main
That's good.
problem.
That's good. Bring that
Drama.
energy. You need to win this.
I gotta get it to use,
The
Yeah.
problem is that the quality for us is pretty bad,
Yeah.
so it's hard to read the questions.
Yeah, I'm
I mean,
thinking
I read
about-
it from the stream, but
I'm thinking about like having as like next time I'm gonna download the questions, and when we get a new one, I'm gonna put all of you in like a group, and I'll send you in the group all the questions like in a PDF format, so you can open it on your site in big version. Even if like for
Like the
example,
hoots, right?
no, like just the PowerPoint that I have here, like the one that I'm showing on stream without the
Ooh,
answers.
yeah. Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
And
What is? Sorry.
what?
What is food about?
Food.
Food
Ah,
category.
I don't know.
Amazing.
What belongs
it
on
is,
pizza?
Bob.
How you do a carbonara?
Pineapples.
Pineapple.
No
Three
idea.
pineapples.
I don't know. Wait, what is this? What is this question? Do we have another one? Did we have 4 questions and
I don't know.
Oh god.
did we
Wait,
have
what
4
the first
questions
one,
and I
the
didn't
first one?
remember? We had 4 questions and I didn't.
I have to
Oh,
open chat.
Oh, scuffed. All scuffed.
There's a
Oh my
fourth
God.
question.
There is
I'm
no,
not-
there is not a 4th question. Just don't vote on that one. Don't vote on that one, chat. Don't vote.
Oh.
Don't vote. Don't vote. Oh shit! So there are 4
The bonus
questions.
question for
There
chat.
are 4 questions for each category. What the oh god! I forgot.
Okay.
Well, who
We take
voted?
I mean, we knew what we were getting into with G, so
True.
it's not a surprise.
So, well, someone,
It's-
someone
It's my
voted on
fault.
this
It's my
one.
fault. Just blame it on me. It's okay.
Bob,
Okay.
oh my god, Bob, why do you always have to be like this? Well, we have
Because you had
we
so much time to prepare the trivia that you added one question for
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
category.
probably. So actually, among the winners from chat, we have the top player from chat in map is actually Dayan. Good job, Dayan, for being the best one. It means that you answered right and you also were extremely fast. So good job, good job. Following, we have Jake, Ness,
More-
and then we have
Go ahead.
Francesco. So beautiful.
Oh,
for-
at least some Italians are winning.
Great job, Jake.
job.
Great job.
Good job, good job, really
job.
good. really
What did
proud.
they win? Sure, there's a prize for that too.
They got praises by us to them.
Yeah.
Listen,
Valuable.
once I get to have this format like established and like cool and like fluent.
Oh my god,
I'm
but
gonna put,
Diane
like,
is smashing.
Yeah, but at the same time, I cannot. Did you know that I can also not put like money prices because like legally I cannot.
Yeah, no, I'm just.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
We
legally
were
I
talking
cannot.
about that. When
I'm
Yeah,
so rich, I
but-
don't need money.
If you filter it like through some words, right?
Gifted subs. The prize is gifted subs.
Yep.
Some, you know,
Yeah,
some
for sure.
rubles, you know?
For sure. Some doubloons.
Yeah.
I think someone asked like
Mhm.
whether if they can like put the extension on just for the questions and
Mhm.
take it off, and you can
From
actually.
BTV.
There is a visible option, and if you turn it on and off whenever you need it, then you can see the whole screen. Just so you know.
True. Everybody, thank you so much for the 5 months. Yes, 5 months already. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you for the support. Thank you, by the way, Limoni, for like sharing that so they know how to.
No worries.
Okay, so skipping the last question of a map, we only had 3. You're lucky. I think it's already less than 3 to you too. We have the next category already came out. Are you ready to see the next one? The next one is gonna be food.
Oh, God.
Food.
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 Yay!
A happy
Okay.
one for all the
Yay,
foodies out there.
food.
A happy one for all the foodies out there.
Jake has to win from chat now.
Wait, I think that I'm forgetting something. Sorry, I need to add something to here, otherwise I'm gonna have problems later. Where is it?
Okay.
Okay, added. Done. Okay.
I feel so good about this one.
So,
I know.
This is the hardest one, you know?
we have
This is.
we have food one. So I have to
Okay.
hide the poll. I have to bring up the new chat. How did you feel the question time? Maybe for Matt 20 seconds was a little bit too short, but maybe for like other things it's gonna be better, I guess. Like for the others should be better. Like to for
Yeah,
food
yeah.
it's just you have to know the answer, you know.
You either know it or you don't. But math, we have to work it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. So next one is gonna be food. Start quiz. Working on it.
Oh,
This
God.
one,
This is-
where is food?
I'm out.
I feel like this is
Oh,
gonna be the
yes, no,
hardest. for me.
What would it be? You know,
Why?
What would you
Why?
ask
Thing I
for
ate in the
food?
2 days was like
I know
vitamin
you.
dense cereal because my mom thinks I'm not eating enough.
Oh,
That-
well.
I don't know what behind food because it maybe if it's alcohol I lost.
Ah, yeah, same. I don't
Okay,
know.
It's food and beverage, so it could be alcohol. It
Who
will be
knows?
alcohol.
Who knows?
Yeah.
We will see. How confident do you feel from 1 to 5 with food category?
-2.
What is it?
One.
-5.
Nice. I like this. Okay. Are you ready then for the first question?
Sure.
I was
Ready?
wrong.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Okay. First question is, which country invented gazpacho?
Oh,
This is favoritism. Are you kidding me? What the hell?
I don't know. I think.
What the hell?
I think I'm out,
is
bro. I think I'm out.
that? Guys, pesto.
Write down your answer.
Can it be the continent?
I have
I-
no idea.
I don't know. Oh wait, but wait. Okay.
Don't look at
I have
chat.
a question. I have a
I
question
guess.
later.
I don't even know how to
That's-
spell any countries, dude.
What do you mean? You don't know any
That's
country?
the geography, by the way. It's not food. I'm out.
Come on. Who has the answer? Who
Should
feels
we
they
go?
have
I
the
have a
answer?
guess.
I have a guess.
Yeah,
Oh,
big
no,
guess
hide
here.
it, hide it, hide it. Okay.
Oh, I need to change.
That's
Uh-oh.
That's fine. Okay, now you have to show it. Now you have to show your answer.
I don't
Okay.
know.
We have Spain, Turkey, Italy, Spain, and Spain.
Why, it's
Italy's
Spain.
wrong, yeah.
Turkey.
Some people got it right. Some people got it
That's
right.
me. I'm sure.
Some people got it wrong. So I'm sorry, Bob and Air, because the actual answer was Spain. I'm sorry,
That's
Turkey
bullshit.
does not.
Someone's cheating.
Get the
I'm not in
I
the
can confirm.
Discord
He
chat
does
or
not have
something.
it.
No doubt.
Spain?
Yeah.
I'm
I
really
hesitate-
sorry
I
to tell you.
Gazpacho. I've never heard of that in my life. What is that? What does
You
it look
never
like?
heard of
It's
gazpacho?
like
Taco?
something
I
with
don't know why I do.
vegetables. Something with vegetables.
Gazpacho is
It's
the
a
soup of
vegetable thing.
tomato.
Yeah.
The soup of tomato.
There's no
you-
shot I was getting that.
Delicious.
It's like maybe
Yeah,
it's
who wants to explain what
I have a
gazpacho is?
question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
What's
food.
that?
So, from the chat overlay, we can see the.
You should not
four-
be seeing the chat overlay. You should
Okay.
have the stream closed.
That was my question. That was my question. I knew it was Spain.
Yes.
Come on, it was so easy.
Yeah, get him out.
But from now on, I
How
am
is
the
it
answer.
that?
Oh my
You're
god.
scamming. I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna give you an L.
Why, we
just
can- we
because
can
you just
cheat?
said that you've been
I don't know,
scamming.
we
No, I wasn't cheating.
Oh,
You're a cheater. You're a cheater.
That I knew it was Spain. It was so
If
obvious.
everyone that didn't guess Turkey
Okay,
is
okay.
cheating.
Ashkelon,
That's
tell
a
me what
fact.
is
Yeah.
gazpacho then? What there
Base.
is in
Base.
gazpacho?
I was okay. It's
I am
something
from
I don't
Turkey.
remember.
Is it
Uh,
cold tomato
you
soup or
don't
something?
remember?
It's something with vegetables,
My bad.
Yeah.
and it's a cold dish. It's
Okay.
not nothing cooked.
Okay, but how do you eat it? Like, what do you remember? One vegetable that there is inside?
Someone said tomato. I'm
Ah,
going with
stop
Someone
looking
said
at
it. What you guys
chat.
smell?
You said tomato. Oh come on! You said tomato.
I said
Someone
it.
said
I
tomato
said it.
sauce.
I said
you
cold
serious?
tomato soup.
Oh.
Chat, what do you think?
I'm not
What
looking
should
at
we do?
chat. What do you mean?
Chat, what should we do? Chat, should we give them like
Nah, I
one
think-
error or not?
To be
Tomato
fair,
soup
Go
fruit,
for
can
yes.
shut
it's,
up.
it's good right
Come
now.
on.
It's good?
No.
I say we give him 2 X's.
Oh.
G,
You know.
from a contestant of Ashkelon, I will
No,
be
no.
fair play. Don't give him a strike.
Okay.
Don't give him a strike.
Okay, Bob talked. Okay, sorry, chat. I have to remove the error. Bob said that we
But,
should not give
I
him
mean,
the error.
I asked
What?
now
You didn't
because
come to
I
my rescue,
activated
Bob.
the
What
thing
the hell
now.
is that?
I don't know, like, that's not fair, you know. I could have
Yeah.
cheated too.
No?
But it's the last,
Yeah,
the last time.
cheating to win nothing.
Okay. But
So fun.
I guess Ashkelon really wants the glory. I guess
you
Ashkelon
kidding me?
really,
Yeah.
really wants the glory.
The
Alright.
glory is this big. We went over this. It's massive. Oh, that.
Come on.
All right, okay, let's go for the next one. Please, if you have the stream open or chat open, please close it. Okay?
Yeah.
No, I just removed the extension so I
No,
can see
remove
the answer.
also chat. You cannot look at chat.
No, I don't have chat open.
Okay.
I don't.
We
You want a
believe you.
screenshot?
No, yeah, no, I try. I'm gonna try to trust you. I always
Try to.
Right.
I always get fucked when I
Emphasis.
trust you, but
Bold. Metallics.
Very.
Try.
Trying to trust.
Can I just say I feel angst so bad right now?
yeah, okay, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
We achieved it then. No
Good.
cheating.
You feeling guilty?
I feel so good.
Okay, next question. Ready? Okay, next question is gonna be
Yeah.
Guinness beer. Guinness. The beer is an invention
Yes.
from where?
Oh.
Chat, wait a second for
Yeah,
this
can
coming
we have
out.
I did
options?
not
Can
know
we have
how to spell
like?
it.
Can we have like something to choose
This feels
from?
like a bait.
No, you don't have anywhere to choose from. Only people. Hide it. Hide the paper. Don't show the paper.
Hide.
It's stupid. It's white.
I don't know. They
Does
cannot see.
spelling count?
No, if you misspell, it's fine.
Or if you... Okay, thank you. Why are you laughing?
I don't like my handwriting. I just like eyeball my handwriting and I'm like, ew.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
cute.
Okay.
Dang.
Do you have your answer?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
Show me your answer. Ireland, Germany,
Ah, shit.
Ireland? It has an E in there?
No, it's
Yeah,
Ireland.
I
You
think.
really
I
right.
thought
You
this was
spelled it
Ireland.
right.
I did?
No, you didn't.
Ireland.
I did not.
No, you did not.
You
Show
spelled
me
it
how
the
you
German
spelled
way.
I'm not sure, bro.
Ireland.
Bob, how
Yeah,
did
the
you
German
spell-
way.
How did you spell it? Too?
He is
Wait.
missing.
I don't want to show it again, dude.
Yeah, I saw Bob's and I was like, yeah, I'm chilling.
No, don't look at Bob and say I'm chilling.
What do you mean?
English is my third language. Okay, don't judge
Yeah,
me.
me too.
No, that is not.
What do you
Bob.
mean? Me too?
That
What?
is not. All
I
right.
don't know what you're on about.
Good job to everyone who said Ireland. Good job. Wait, Angela, was it you writing Germany?
Oh.
Yeah.
I have
I'm
a bad information to give you. I have a bad thing to tell you. You actually
Oh no.
became a Dumbo.
Oh no.
You're the
It's
very
gonna
first
do
Dumbo
the dance
of the
now.
day.
Paul,
You gotta
Someone-
twerk for us.
Someone has to
Salutes
stop.
in chat for the Dumbo. Very first Dumbo of the day. Wait, I have to do something first.
What friend?
Would you like to stay here with us or wait? Can I freeze?
Dance.
I think not because I don't have the stream open and I can do like I don't know when subs are getting in.
Okay.
So,
I'm lagging already. Anyway,
Well, do a
so-
dance anyway, you know, just
Yeah.
for the content.
Just
Twerk.
dance.
sure.
Wait, can
Dance out
you
of the
stay,
Shake.
Bob guys are
Shake
amazing.
your
can you
booty.
stay in a salute position for a
Sorry.
second? Can you stay in a now I'm gonna freeze you. So I need you to choose. Okay, this is gonna be your
Okay.
position. This is your freezing position then. I got you.
But for everyone?
No, just him,
Okay.
I
Oh,
wanna try to do
I'll
something.
make a move. One second.
So everyone doing it. So I was.
I wasn't breathing, man.
He decided that is gonna be his freezing position. Chat, can I see some salutes for Angelo leaving us? This thank you for joining
oh wait,
us.
I actually thought he was frozen.
Why?
What the hell?
What?
Dude, I thought he was frozen that whole time. This guy's insane.
Yes, really good.
Remove one of his Dumbo lives.
And I want to have a little thinking about all the people who bet on Angelo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, how many
For
points?
everyone
Damn
who
it.
bet on Angelo, yeah, I'm sorry. You
Damn
trusted
it.
the Greek guy,
Oh.
and it did not work.
I'm
Sorry.
Greek and I don't even know math. man.
Wait.
Calculations failed me. Anyway,
Akhtar, thank
Good
you
luck.
so much for the 7 months. Appreciate you for the prime. I really do. Thank you for that.
Oh, that's a sub before
Oh,
that.
he left. Thank you, Angelo. Thank you. Wait, we have Angelo picture is
I
gonna
didn't
go
see that
up
already.
here. Oh, there's Pera knocking on the door. Wait. I wanted to do something cool for. Where is he? Here. Let's see if I can make it happen. Sorry, I'm just finding new things to... I want it to be like this. Like, there we go. So we have him there. Filters, black and
perfect.
white. Color correction, all right. Contrast, no, that's not contrast. It's saturation, 0. Close. There we go. That is the Dumbo. Wait, let me open the door to Pera that is knocking.
That looks so sad.
Young but not forgotten.
Yeah,
Always in our hearts.
this is like a World
Damn.
War II veteran right there.
He was loved.
Pera wanted to be here too, sorry.
Aww.
Yeah. The tree is going.
Okay.
This is
Okay,
the day.
so when you will become a Dumbo, you will also be able to choose your own, like, you know, freezing picture.
Sign off.
Yeah.
Can't
Yeah.
wait.
But
I'll never become a Dumbo.
we
Yeah,
were
I'm not gonna have it.
I'm here to win it.
Yeah.
so we did the second question about food. We're going on
Yes.
with the third question.
Which is
third
not the last
question-
Pineapple belong on pizza. Yes.
Okay, we have another
Does
Dumbo.
pineapple belong on pizza?
We have another Dumbo. It goes directly from 0 to 3 errors, darkly banned. He's gone. So the third question is, which country popularized the Tim Tam Slam?
I don't
Oh.
know.
Can I use call a
Oh.
friend?
No, that doesn't work here.
I don't
Here-
even know
Ah,
what it is.
there.
You can
Okay,
say a random country, I guess, if you really don't know the answer.
That's what I'm doing.
Go for it.
Yeah.
And Julia,
Yep.
if nobody of us have the correct answer, you have all a strike.
Yeah, I think.
I think so. Well,
Does
sorry to tell you.
anybody of us know?
But I think that someone will know the answer.
Oh wait.
Okay. Look at
Okay.
Alicia, are you excited?
Yes.
You know?
the answer?
Wait,
Where is she
yeah.
from? Where is
You
she
know
from?
the answer?
Wait, I
I
need
don't
to change.
know.
All right.
Okay.
Why?
Why?
Hold on, I'm gonna
Everyone,
change
show
again.
your answers.
Wait.
Wait.
I changed my mind. Okay, I mean, okay.
Okay, show your answers.
I'm
Canada,
embarrassing
India,
myself.
Australia,
It was really Australia.
USA. Well, I have to tell you.
Yo, Bob! I didn't think. You're insane, man.
At least one of you
Where's
got
India?
it right.
Oh my god, I'm so
At
stupid.
least one
No.
of you got it right because the answer was actually Australia. Good job.
C'est
Good job.
Australia.
Oh, thank
So-
God. I thought it was India.
We have a lot of errors now. Ashkelon, what was your answer?
Oh no.
I wrote Canada.
What
I
made
don't
you
know
think
why.
it was going to be Canada?
Why? I don't know. I
I don't know.
don't
Just
even know what it
curious.
is.
Just curious question. Not insulting at all.
I don't know. The first
Oh,
country I
you got
thought
your
about.
very first mistake. Bob! You also got your
Hey,
first mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Max, what did you
If
write?
I, if I,
Australia.
Nice. Good job. So, the ones that put Australia were Maxwell, Air, Lizzie, and Bobo? Or also you, Limoni? No, you put USA.
Mm-mm. Yes.
Come on, I voted for you.
You put
Uh,
USA?
Yes.
That's unfair.
All right. Can
This-
I
the
ask you a
Spain thing
question?
was
Like,
rigged.
for the ones that wrote Australia, what is the Team Tam Slam? I have no
Oh, you
idea.
never done it?
So,
I just
you have a
Googled-
Tim Tam.
Yeah. No, what is a Team Tam?
You have a Tim Tam.
What is
and
a
then,
Tim Tam?
Okay, so it's like. Okay, could someone else describe? It's like a biscuit covered in. It's like a wafer. Okay.
What?
Anyways, Ren,
It's a
take it
layer-
away.
Wafer
It's a
biscuit.
layered biscuit that
Yeah.
is it's like a nougat in the middle almost, soft,
then
and it's covered in chocolate. So you
Yeah.
bite the two
One
like
corner,
diagonal corners off, and then you use it as a straw through milk or coffee,
and then you slam it.
Ah.
and then it gets real soft and oozy, and then you just
You slam it in your mouth.
Yeah. it's real good.
Yeah, it's good.
All right.
You slam it.
I'm really curious about that one.
Boom.
And these are the reasons
Well,
why I
since
would
it
like.
was an English snack, like English named snack, and it included some sort of like violence, I thought it was from the USA, but I don't know.
That was actually a good way of thinking. Like, oh, there's slam in it. It's USA. It's USA. Like, if there was like boom or pow, USA. You
Hey,
see?
fair, actually.
Hey, calm down,
Violence,
sister.
freedom.
All right. Well, for now, we only have 2 players with 0 errors. Only 2 players. We have Maxwell and
Sussy.
Lizzie. Only 2 of them. But everyone else just had one errors. Let's go for the last because we have 4 questions per category. We have 4 questions per category.
No.
Oh God, please, no more food.
3 questions is
Come on.
No. Fourth
No.
question about food. And this is
Yeah,
a
I like
long
this.
one. But some of you might like it. I don't know if Air is gonna like it, but
Okay.
we can check
I
it out.
don't like this.
I don't think that you might know much.